The soldier stepped on a landmine but didn't realize it at first. As he turned around, the mine suddenly exploded. His comrade, John, immediately stepped forward, ready to help, but to his horror, he too stepped on a landmine. Frozen in place, John didn't dare move. He stared at his fallen comrade, overcome with despair. But the most urgent matter now was his own survival. John raised his arms to maintain balance, slowly moved his right leg back, and carefully knelt on the ground. He then pulled out his knife and tried to pry the landmine out of the sand, but it was buried too deep. When his knife went halfway in, it hit something solid. John sighed in frustration. He had no choice but to call for help, but the sandstorm was so intense that the helicopter couldn't reach him. The rescue team wouldn't arrive for another 52 hours. John was stunned. In the barren desert with no food or water, surrounded by the constant threat of enemies, staying still for 52 hours seemed impossible. Then, his radio battery died. Feeling utterly helpless, John set his watch to count down and pulled out his rations. Just as he was about to drink, he discovered his water pouch was empty. Without water in the scorching desert, his chances of survival were slim. But just as despair began to creep in, a massive sandstorm rolled in. John quickly pulled a scarf from his bag and covered his nose and mouth. He jammed the barrel of his sniper rifle into the sand as a stand, then drove his knife into the earth to secure himself. The wind kicked up, and soon, a torrent of sand rushed toward him like a flood. In the blink of an eye, his head was buried under a thick layer of sand. He struggled to breathe and couldn't even open his eyes. But even as half his body was pounded by the storm, John stayed motionless, enduring the pain. Thankfully, the sandstorm was short-lived. Just as John was barely hanging on, the storm passed and disappeared without a trace. He managed to hold on until nightfall, but just as he thought he might get a bit of rest, wild dogs attacked him from behind. One of them bit his lower leg. He tried to pull out his handgun to fight back, but the cunning dogs weren't about to let him. They quickly attacked from both sides, sinking their teeth into his arms, tearing at him savagely. In a life-or-death struggle, John fought back with everything he had. Alone, he wrestled with 4 wild dogs, refusing to back down. By dawn, exhausted and covered in wounds, John regained his sanity. The dogs that had attacked him lay nearby, lifeless. Though the physical pain was bearable, the mental torture was overwhelming. Since stepping on the landmine, John hadn't moved a muscle for 40 straight hours. He finally gathered the courage to make a decision. Even if it meant being blown to bits, he didn't want to stand still and die like this. With a deep breath, he slowly lifted his left foot off the landmine. To his astonishment, he wasn't blown up. In fact, John realized that he hadn't been standing on a landmine at all. It was just a rusted iron can buried in the sand. He collapsed onto the ground, overwhelmed. John couldn't help but laugh and cry at the absurdity of it all.